Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB bikini pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Hey everyone, today we are speaking with an athlete from Belgium who's a personal trainer and online coach who has dreams of stepping on the Olympia stage. She loves empowering women, and I'm so happy to have her here. So welcome to the show, Elodie, whom I cannot pronounce her last name yet, so I'm going to let her do that. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. So my last name is Puraye.
Got it. See, this is why I couldn't pronounce it. And it sounds so much better coming out of your mouth. So before we get into everything I have planned, I always love to ask, what is something you do or a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage?
Sorry?
What's a ritual you have or something you think about or maybe something you do right before you step on stage?
Okay, so I use that time as a conditioning, mental conditioning, and I really love to just stay quiet with meditation music.
Oh, awesome. So you put headphones in?
Yes.
That's cool. And do you think about anything when you're doing that, or you just like let your mind go?
No, I just chill. Just take time to chill. But now I also stay with friends backstage, so other athletes. But we just chill together.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always love seeing the photos of everybody backstage. It's always a fun time, and even if everyone is just laying down with their feet up, doing their own thing,
Exactly.
it's cool because we're all there together. So, I mentioned this in the intro, but you have dreams of stepping on the Olympia stage, and you recently have taken an off season to improve and keep your long-term goals in sight.
Yes.
So what are you doing to make those improvements, and what are those improvements you're making?
So my major improvement area is glutes.
Mm-hmm.
This was my feedback. So everything was good besides my glutes because I lack of muscle. And thing is that I used to prep on my own for 4 years.
Wow.
So I think I've made some mistakes. So I got my pro card on my own, and it was fine. But at the pro level, it's no longer possible. So I've started to work with my coach, Karina, and we decided to have a longer off season so that we can build the glutes, build quality, so that when I lean out, everything holds in its place. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it
And
takes time. It takes time.
it does. We gotta eat. We gotta focus on lifting heavy and switching up our
Yeah.
training, and just really taking that time to be patient with the growth. And I had
Yes.
no idea you prepped yourself for 4 years all the way to your pro card. I'm sure,
Yes.
I mean, you must have learned so much about yourself and your body and your mind in that time.
Yes, exactly. I found that pretty empowering. So it was like a personal challenge. And then, yes, I've learned a lot along the way, and I loved it, really. But I had to realize that it was no longer possible at a pro level. It's too
Right.
hard. Yes, it's too hard. Everything is taken into account. So I need somebody else to assess my physique and to fine tune it.
Yes, it's amazing because pro athletes in all sports and every sport, they have coaches, and there's a
Yes.
reason for that. And I think it's awesome that you saw the benefit in starting and getting a coach at this point now that you've become a pro. And what would you say are some of the differences you've experienced between coaching yourself and now having someone else's eyes on you to make those fine tunings?
I think it's easier because you no longer have to think, overthink, and experiment things. You just trust the coach, you do your job, and it's fine.
Yes, I know.
So
That's
it's
exactly
easier
it.
because when you're on your own, sometimes you tend to overthink everything. Uh, yes, every little weight variation or stuff like that, you overthink about that. So when you have your coach, she can reassure you about the variations, about what you're doing, and just help you to chill out.
So true.
Yeah.
I noticed that, I mean, in prep and in improvement season, I love having my coach because a lot of us are athletes already, or we're coaches ourselves, or we've done it before, we've been in the fitness industry. We know to an extent what to do, but like you said, it's not so much about what to do, but it's about the execution of it. And it's nice to have someone
Exactly.
else say, this is what you need to do. And then you just have to, open your email, follow the plan, and do it.
Yeah.
And then you can go to someone for reassurance.
And she knows because she used to be a bikini pro. She was an Olympian, so she knows what she's talking
Mm.
about. So it's easier.
Exactly. And you actually mentioned, now that you had said, not overthinking as much. And I remember in a recent post, you said you're no longer overthinking things and you feel like you're finally enjoying, quote unquote, normal life and not
Yes,
really
that's true.
stressing about like eating too much and then restricting later. So, had you struggled in the past with disordered eating?
Yes, I used to. So I started like when I was 21. So now I'm 35. I had eating disorders, anorexia and bulimia. Then I regained weight, but struggled with binge eating for years. So I
Mm-hmm.
can only say that I'm cool with that. It's been 2 years, I think. Getting my pro card helped a lot, really.
How so?
I don't know what happened exactly, but I feel like uh, I had more faith into my abilities thanks to my
Mm.
pro card. And I don't know what happened, but it put things into place. And I got slowly, I got rid of binge eating. This and also maybe personal events like a breakup. I decided to
Mhm.
break up this, quitting my job, and this was empowering. And since then, I can say I'm cool with my eating disorders. But for years, I've been struggling and yes, always overthinking about eating too much, eating too little. Yeah, all the time, actually.
It
But
must
one thing
be, yeah, what were you going to say?
I wanted to say that bodybuilding helped me a lot because when you struggle with binge eating, uh, the only motivation I had before bodybuilding was just not to gain too much weight. But it's not enough. It's not enough. But
Mm.
when you start lifting, when you have goals, this helps a lot because you don't want to sabotage your hard work with
So
uh, with
true.
the eating disorders. So really, it helped me a lot.
I love to hear that. I love those kinds of stories because I work with girls who struggle with their relationship with food, and
Yeah,
binge behavior is really, really common in the competitor world because of, there is a level of restriction and commitment that comes from a prep and comes from competing. But at the same time, what you mentioned was you've been able to step into a feeling of empowerment from taking responsibility in other areas of your life, such as a, a breakup and quitting your job. And this was empowering for you. And then you earned your pro card, which really reaffirmed and gave you more faith in your abilities to go after and achieve your goals and make those things happen. So, how
yeah.
have you felt, or what have you done differently, maybe this improvement season compared to others as it relates to your relationship with food?
This one is more balanced, so I don't cut any macro, and we focus also on healthy fats, which I used to ditch a little bit because they are higher in calories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Yes. So this, and also I think that I've learned a lot about myself. So it can be weird to say that, but I love myself more. I
Yeah.
trust myself more. So I know I have to gain weight and gain fat as well. This is not my favorite shape, but it's okay. I've just learned to like it like that.
Absolutely. That is so relatable on so many levels. It's I actually just made a post in our like the team that I'm on in our group, and I was like, it was like a side by side of where I was a year ago, and I was like, I loved my body then and I love my body even more now. There's nothing different because the action was still there and still rooted in self-love. And I always say this, but I truly believe like when we love ourselves fully and truly, we are more likely and more inspired to take action that aligns us to our goals and also makes our body feel good. And so as a result, the outcome always takes care of itself. And I think that that's really cool that you've been able to say this off season, I've chosen to love myself and love my body and accept that in order to grow and make these changes and deliver on judges' feedback as a pro and really level up, I have to, one, trust what my coach gives me, and two, understand that that process might involve more food, which might involve more weight gain, which also can include not just muscle mass, but tissue of all types, including fat mass as well.
This.
It's cool that you can look at that though and say that's okay. And I know there's a lot
Yeah.
of girls who struggle to say, hey, that's okay, that's what's necessary. So what has allowed you to, as you have said, gain fat with confidence, and what do you feel has personally allowed you to develop this healthy relationship or outlook on your body?
So really, I think it's yeah, to be personal, I've been single for 1 year and a half now, and I think this time has been really beneficial to me because I've learned stuff about myself. I've learned to focus on just myself and yes, trust myself more, trust my guts. So I'm more in tune with myself.
Mm.
So it's much more easier to trust the process, to love your body, to make healthy choices. So this plus the relationship I have with my coach who thinks like me. So she's in a holistic approach.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So she
I
wants to
do. Yeah.
emphasize the really healthy relationship between mind and body. And this is my approach I have with my trainees as well.
I know, and I love that about you because you talk about, I mean, your profile for anybody who doesn't follow you yet and who's listening to this, definitely go and just like read through a bunch of Elodie's posts because they are awesome. And you just mentioned, you talk about the holistic approach. You've also mentioned how you prioritize health and sustainability. So what does that mean for you? And also, how does that then look for your clients in their individual lives?
Yes, I want to focus on sustainability. Uh, I'm going to start with myself. I don't like to think about that, but I'm not going to be a bikini forever. So I don't think about retirement, not now, but I know we're not going to do this forever. So I need to take care of my body. It's really, it's crucial to do that. So yes, for us competitors, but for I would say normal life clients, they need to focus on sustainability because if they don't, you can't just do 100% for 2 days and they then mess up everything. So I prefer them to work like 70% all the time rather than as two perfect days and then doing crap.
Right. So, what are some things that you emphasize with them to help them prioritize their health and that sustainable approach?
I try to teach them to be flexible with their diets and with their trainings. So regarding the diets, I don't do how do you say that, cookie cutter, is
Mm-hmm.
it, yeah, cookie cutter meal plan, so it's fully adapted to them. I give them substitutions so that they can switch the menus, they can arrange according to their schedules. I never force people to eat at certain times, because the best time to eat is the time that suits them the more.
Mm-hmm.
So this, yes, I really want to be flexible with them. Regarding food choices, I allow free meals as well. Uh, I never force to eat anything they don't like, but that's logical, but still.
Yeah.
Uh, Training, yes, they can switch. I have substitution, I give substitution regarding exercises too, so that they can pick and do what suits them the best.
I love that. And I think that, I love asking girls who are coaches on here, like how they approach it, because it gives other people who listen, competitors or non-competitors, an opportunity to see that there's more than one way and that it's okay to take a different approach than maybe the norm or what's expected. And
Yes.
to that point, you had said, for competitors versus for like more normal life girls, and that one day, you don't think about this now, but one day you will retire. How does your version of sustainable look different from maybe someone who is just following a lifestyle plan, if that question makes sense?
My what? I haven't understand. My what?
How does your version or definition of sustainable, like the program you're on with your coach, how does that differ from maybe the approach you would take as a lifestyle?
I think that in the long term, it can be pretty similar to that. Because from now on, since I'm off season, yes, I'm just supposed to follow my macros, my caloric intake, but I'm not supposed to be 100% uh, on the plan. So
Mm-hmm.
it's more like general guidelines. As long as I'm eating more calories than required, so I need to eat in a surplus. I need to get my macros, but we do not stress about tiny details. So it can look like a real life client diet.
Yes, totally. I love that. I love where this is going, because like in my last off season, and even then leading into this prep that I was on and now I'm reversing out of, which because of this whole virus thing is kind of weird. But anyway, um, in that off-season phase and in previous off-season phases, it was so important to me to maintain a healthy relationship with food, and I found that was easier when I eliminated the black or white mentality that I usually take on prep, which is like on prep everything's 100% all or nothing. But in an off season, it's kind of like what you said, sticking to the plan, but the plan changes, meaning it doesn't have to be so much so like a prep. It's more like if you want to have a piece of chocolate, or if you want to enjoy a meal out with your family every once in a while, go ahead and do that. Don't sweat it, as long as you're committed to the long-term vision and you're loving your body and you're loving yourself. That's what always made me feel really good in those times.
Yes.
So you've also talked about the mind body connection,
Yes.
and just I want to touch on this because I think that what you do really well is you use your mind not just in your daily life, as it's become obvious to us, but also in your training and your stretching and your day-to-day movement. So what are some of the ways you have strengthened your mind body connection that others who are listening might be able to implement?
And so first thing is that every morning I do a 15-20 minute stretching. It's inspired of yoga. So I do this after my coffee, but like first thing in the morning. And it's really self time. It's self-care moment. So I put meditation music, take my time when I wake up, and just, yes, have some me time in the early morning, so I feel really focused and centered on myself.
I
Yes,
love that. That's amazing. I've been slacking on my morning mobility that I was doing for a while, and now that we're talking about it, I'm gonna have to start doing it again because it does make a difference, and
it
um,
does.
it helps you in other areas, like you said. You feel more grounded when you go about your day, right?
Exactly. So in the morning, I do this, then have my shower. Before having breakfast, I take time to write down three things to look forward during my upcoming days. Three different thoughts, so morning thoughts, random thoughts, anything. And then I have my breakfast. Then only I check my emails and go on Instagram and stuff like that. So I have like
Yes.
maybe 30, 40 minutes just for myself and to start in a healthy and positive way.
I love that. That is so important to have a morning ritual or to have
Yeah.
your time where it's not, because what happens is when we wake up, we want to feed into the automatic patterns of our day-to-day life. It's in psychology, it's almost like I don't know how to say it in a way that makes a lot of sense to people, but it's like you're reawakening, which means you're like coming back to the conscious moment. So our
Mhm.
brain naturally wants to have an understanding of all the things that matter in our life. What are our friends doing? What are our family doing? What's the world up to? What's my money like? What's my business like? What's this? All the things that are familiar, our brain immediately wants to connect to and understand and see where it's at. But when we set aside that moment in the morning for ourselves, like you've done with the stretching, the shower, the things you're looking forward to in your morning thoughts, you actually are giving and creating an opportunity to write the day how you want it to be, rather than being reactive to how it normally is or what the world is doing.
Yes.
I love that. And, we're both aligned in our message about loving your body for how she serves us and functions for us, and taking negative thoughts and turning them into more loving words. So, do you have any other daily practices you do to keep your mindset in general, but your body image in a positive place throughout the day?
Mostly this. I really, I try to have some, maybe not during the day, but 2, 3 times a week, some me time. So like self massage or things like that.
I love
And
that. That's awesome.
also I use the foam roller every day.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I can't work out without using it now. Like for at least, I believe, probably like maybe even more than 4 years, ever since I got a gym membership. So that would be like 6 years. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ever since I knew what a foam roller was, like I have not once done a workout without rolling out first. I have to do it.
No, not before the workout. Generally, it's at the end of the day or in the morning, but I make sure I use it every day.
That's awesome. And you find that that's made a difference in your recovery, or?
I think so, but I've been using it for years, so I don't know, but I've never been injured. I visited a chiropractor a few days ago, and he said everything is fine. You're one of the most flexible person I've ever seen, so I guess it's okay.
Oh my God, I know some of your videos and photos. I'm like, how are you doing that? I'm like, where is your leg? Like, it's freaking awesome. And I mean, it's a testament to your commitment to your body and to your goals and to the way that you feel. And, something that you are adamant about is women empowerment. And you mentioned earlier how you initiated a breakup, you quit a job, these types of things that actually helped you to feel empowered in your life. Do you mind sharing a little bit more about those experiences?
Yes, sure. So, over the years, I've often noticed that things tended to turn in my favor. I don't know why, I don't know how, but it's like that. So it was like 6 or 7 years ago. I was fed up with a job, and I was made redundant and left with some money because it was due to I don't know how to say that in English. When they made many people of the company redundant.
Like a severance package.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I wanted to quit the job, but I was made redundant. Uh, Something like that, something similar happened regarding a breakup. So yes, things tend to turn in my favor. Maybe because I trust the universe, I don't know, maybe law of attraction, I don't know. But I was passive in the process. You know what I mean? So
passive as in you just trusted that it would work out?
yes, I didn't do anything. Just things happened for me, but I wasn't the one who decided anything. But so it was more like 2 years ago. Yes, I was in a, yeah, I can say that, crappy relationship. It was abusive, mentally abusive, and I didn't want to realize it. But one day, I don't know, it just clicked, and I said, "Okay, I'm done." So instead of letting things go, I decided to quit the guy. So I did that, and since then, I felt like I was in some kind of ascension. You know, I was expanding. I've been expanding since then. And a few months later, I quit my job because my idea a few years ago was to be a coach, and I didn't dare to start as a coach, as a self-employed coach. So I I had a part-time job and then coachings. Then I was made redundant from the part-time job.
Wow.
And got another full-time job. So with this full-time job, I became a salesperson, which is totally not me. But anyway, so I became a salesperson. And yes, I realized I was super fed up about this job. And I remembered that my main project was to be a coach. So after my competitions, I always take 1 week off, 1 week from work, one week from training. So it was in December 2018, sorry, 2018. And yes, I thought that I would use that week to rethink about my priorities and maybe change things about my job. And after that week, I came back to my work on Monday. And the first minute I was in my office, I said, okay, I'm done. I quit.
Wow.
So I knew it. When I've got the idea in my mind, it's stuck in my mind. So I couldn't get back. So yes, in the morning, and then Monday afternoon, I sent an email to my boss to ask if I could see her the next day, which I did. I asked her if she was okay to fire me so that I would keep my right to, when you get some funds when you lose your jobs.
Yes, it's like being laid off versus being yes.
Yes. So I asked her if it was okay. It was not. So I said, okay. And I sent my resignation letter the next day.
Wow. Good for you.
Just like that.
Good for you. And I mean, obviously there's so much you're just the way you're talking, even I can tell as you're taking us on this journey, it was such an empowering experience for you. And not only did you leave an unhealthy, toxic relationship, but then you trusted your gut and you left this job that to finally pursue the coaching that you had thought about a few years prior. And what would you say to someone who says, I want to do what you did, but I don't have the courage to do that? What would you say to them?
Do it. No, but seriously,
Yes.
if there is no perfect time, and if you wait, if you keep on waiting for the perfect time, you never do it. So what I thought is that I thought jump.
Mm-hmm.
Jump without the safety net will appear. And you you never get as good as when you don't have any other choice.
Yes.
Because I live alone, so I have nobody to back me up. So I had to, I just had to do it.
Yeah, you had to
Do
make
it
it
and
work.
make it.
Absolutely. I've had a similar experience. I quit my job and I was like, I could go on and on in my head about why this isn't bad or why it might not work, or and I had already been running my business for a couple of years, but I was working other jobs at the time with it, and I was like, I need the space and the energy to take my business where I want it to go, to make the impact I want to make, to reach the people I want to make and create the life that I want to live. And I remember I was in the airport and I was writing my 2 weeks notice after a seminar I had gone to, and I almost missed my plane because I was writing it. But when I got back, I turned it in, and it was there was a rush, but I knew it was going to be the best decision for me. And then after I made that decision, it was like the universe was like, I've been waiting for you to do that because I had all these things in queue for you.
Exactly.
And it's quite freeing and empowering, like you said. And uh, one of the things that I also have, embraced about you and seen in your posts is how honest you are with yourself and how you can really see where growth is required internally and externally. So when you were in that relationship, what was it that sparked in you that said, I've had enough?
I don't know. I think I knew it. I didn't want to.
Mm.
I think my gut was telling me it sucks, but I didn't want to because the guy was able to portray himself like the good guy,
Mm-hmm.
and you think you're crazy leaving a good guy, but he's not. He's not. Definitely not. But yeah, I think my guts knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day it just clicks. You know, that if you stay in the relationship, you no longer respect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know it. And at some point, I felt like, no, I need to love myself. I need to respect myself. So I'm done.
I love that. That is the truth. There's these moments, these turning points in our life where we have a choice to make for ourselves and it can change everything. And you made that choice and it changed everything for the better. And now you have pursued bodybuilding and you've prioritized fitness and health. When did you start focusing on your health or prioritizing and even pursuing bodybuilding?
So you mean the new approach? You mean?
Just when did you start lifting and wanting to become a bodybuilder?
Okay, so I started lifting in 2014, not that consistently, and but actually bodybuilding, no, competing was a challenge from myself to myself, just to see where I could go on my own. And I decided to do this 12 weeks prior to my first competition, so it was pretty short,
Wow.
but it was not a huge level, so it was a fact. Sorry to say that, but level was not insane, and it was okay. I was okay, but I got hooked. First step on the stage, I got hooked.
Wow.
I was like, okay, that's what I like. I love this. I'm an introvert, so it's strange. It's strange. I'm pretty shy, but I love that.
That's really cool. And now you want to step on the Olympia stage. So why is that such an important dream of yours?
Because it's the stage.
Yes.
It's just the stage. I can go higher than that. But
Right.
I really love to challenge myself. So first thing, I wanted to be the yes, the Belgian champion. So I
Mm-hmm.
did that. I wanted to be the first Belgian who would earn the pro card first. Yes, first bikini from Belgium to be a pro. So I did that. So yes, next step is
Mhm.
the Olympia.
I love it. And you can do it with that mindset.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And what do you, okay, so what do you wish more women believed or could see in themselves to feel so empowered and inspired and willing to pursue those types of challenges that you've set out for yourself? Because you've obviously accomplished them. So what do you wish you could tell other women so that they could see that potential in themselves?
To trust their guts, because I really believe that most of the time we know, but we don't want to know. We maybe we're afraid of what we know. Maybe we think we're overthinking, but we're not. We know, and women know. I think more than men.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think we have a lot more like empathy and ability to
I
see
think
what it
so.
is that
I
we
think
need.
so.
So, I mean, just everything you've shared today has been amazing, and I would love to see you step on the Olympia stage. I think that would be awesome. I know it'll happen one day, and of course, with everything going on, there's things that are up in the air. But how long are you planning to take off before you say, "Okay, I'm ready to prep again and do this"?
I don't know actually. So when my coach says I'm ready, then I'm ready.
Yes.
But we're not planning anything specific for time on. And yes, especially with these times where everything is not certain. So maybe end of the year, but really it's not certain.
Right. I totally get that. And I think that's a one of the most beautiful parts about this phase we're in right now, but also just about improvement seasons in general, is that we're not attached to a timeline. So we open ourselves up to the process and being able to see the beauty in it and just being committed to it because we love it, not because we have to be ready by a certain time, but because we're committed to respecting the sport, respecting what's required, and bringing something better for ourselves.
Yes, because taking time is a shortcut.
Mm.
If I decide to rush, I know I won't be good enough. So yes, taking time is the answer, and it's the shortcut.
I love that. I love that. That's such a great way of seeing it and saying it. And now I'm gonna shift gears just slightly before I ask you like some ending remarks. But there's a question that has come up on this podcast now a few times that I love to ask, and it's just for fun. Someone had submitted it a while ago, and I think it's great to ask everyone. So, this question is: if you could only choose one exercise for each of the following areas, what exercise would you choose? And that's one for shoulders, one for glutes, and one for hamstrings.
Okay, so for shoulders, I would do side raises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best thing for my shoulders. I just love this. For the
Yes.
glutes, really it depends because I'm hyper flexible. So from one session to the other session, I don't feel every the same exercise the same way.
Mm.
But I would say seated hip thrusts.
Okay.
Depends.
Got
This one.
it. And what about hamstrings?
And about hamstrings, oh, seated good mornings.
Oh, I've seen a lot of people doing those lately. What is it
Yeah,
about them that you like so much?
but it's better for me because of my hyper flexibility because I have hyper extended knees. So
Oh,
it's more gentle. So
got
my
it.
do this on the floor. So I do this on the floor with a barbell on my shoulders.
That's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I'm gonna have to try that. Like, I've seen so many girls doing it, and I'm like, that's because I've done regular good mornings, but not the seated, and I think that that would be awesome. So, when you do it, do you squeeze your glutes to pull yourself back up?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, got it. Well, thank you for sharing those. And so now I want to know, what is your best advice for someone who hasn't competed yet? And then what is your best advice for the girls who are on their road to pro?
So for a girl who hasn't competed yet, I would say really take your time. Just take your time. Um, Make sure to build quality and don't rush into cutting, because leaner is not always the answer. Yes. And I would say the same thing to a girl who wants to be a pro, because I really think it's one of my biggest mistakes. I used to have this black and white approach, and maybe nothing in the long term, not enough. So to me, I used to think that the most important part was to lean out, but it's not. So you have to think in the long run, take your time and really build some quality.
I love that. Thank you so much for just sharing all of that advice and insight just throughout this whole entire episode, with so many implementable action steps that we can take, from your morning routine to the things that you do before you go on stage with the meditation, to taking time for yourself a couple days a week. It's just, you packed us with so many ideas and so much value, and gave us a lot of insight too on things you've overcome that many people struggle with. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing all that. And I'd love for everybody to be able to follow you and connect with you, maybe even reach out for coaching. So do you mind sharing where they can do that?
Yeah, sure. So people can contact me on my Instagram, or yes, my email address, but maybe it won't be easy to say it because it's in French with my full name. You can just contact me on Instagram. It's easier.
Okay, I'll make sure I put that in the show notes page too, so I can always put your email there if you want me to. And to everybody listening, thank you guys so much for tuning in again. And I always appreciate you guys when you share it on your stories and tag the athletes and talk about your main takeaways. It's super cool. And your ratings, reviews, and subscriptions mean so much to the show. And of course, when you share it with your teammates, they can benefit too. So I appreciate you guys for listening again, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you are listening to this episode.